with that. So thank you all for coming. This is our time to meet with the mayors. We missed last year. I'm so excited to see them again. Mayor Bob Severns, Mayor Tim Callison, Mayor Molly Hughes will each have 10 or 15 minutes to present what their years have been like. Not a lot of time, but I'm sure something's coming up. So Mayor Bob Severns, let me get started, and thank you, Sabrina, for being his tech assistant.
Thank you, Madam President, and thank you to the League for this opportunity. It is a nice evening and a nice evening to be with you. I'd like to start off by saying that the city of Oak Harbor has experienced just a lot that, as you are reading about cities like us through this CARES pandemic. It has been an interesting, different year for us, just like everybody. We started off with a CARES grant program using the opportunity for funding to help 63 businesses on North Whidbey Island, in the North Whidbey Island area, providing about $354,000 to those businesses from the Department of Commerce and together with Island County on a joint program. That, of course, started last year and ran through a good part of the year. Also, we had a visit from our representative, Rick Larson, who visited our local businesses, came actually into Oak Harbor and walked our business community, including our Main Street, to talk to those a lot of those businesses that we were able to help, and talked about programs and ongoing opportunities. We also had First Lady Biden come to our city. She spent most of her time at the Naval Air Station, but our city encompasses a part of that Naval Air Station. So we had her right here in Oak Harbor. And then we also signed a memorandum of understanding with Island County to have our communications and IT manager, Sabrina Combs. Without Sabrina, I wouldn't have these beautiful slides. She's always helping me, but we were able to provide an MOU where she worked alongside of their public information officers, assisting Island County on the COVID response teams, highlighting information for the community about COVID-19, and especially about the COVID vaccine information. The partnership started actually in December of 2020 and is currently taking place through May, through this May. At the end of this month, that MOU will end. So we also have some new hires, and we had our building official retired, and we hired Ginger Pennington from Chelan. She has moved here to Oak Harbor, first female in that position ever for the city of Oak Harbor, and has she ever hit the ground running? Alex Warner was promoted actually from our engineering team and took over as our city engineer just this last month. We also had our parks operation manager retire, and Mr. Don Crawford is coming to work for us. Don comes from Idaho with a lot of experience, and he'll start, I believe, this next week. So hires and things happening, and with the staff of about 150 full-time employees. That includes some paid on-call firefighters, but we have quite a few staff changes these days, and I'd sure like to welcome these new hires. So we'll go on to projects. I want to highlight a few of the projects that our staff is working on. we hired a consultant as a city engineer during our city engineering hiring process, and he praised our city for the number of projects that we were working on. And the first one is this transportation benefit district, which just last year we started a very aggressive program to work on our city streets and get new pavement in as many areas as possible. We'll be doing that every year for the next 9 years. It's a 10-year TBD, and we appreciate the community support to be able to have that, be able to do that activity. We're actually doing this, most of this road work with the Island County Road Department or Public Utility Department. So that's a nice partnership. The Harbor Heights Sports Complex, we purchased 75 acres. Staff worked with the community to development concepts and is currently working on the steps to construct the first phase of this project by August of 2022. The first phase includes 2 soccer fields and 50 parking spaces. More details are available on the city website, and that's www.oakriver.org/Harbor Heights. We also have the American Rescue Plan grant. Our finance director, David Goldman, is preparing for the new grant program. We are currently learning more about the details of that grant program from our federal government. And believe me, there is a lot to learn, but that's an exciting opportunity that we're working on. We have a camera project where we are improving safety for the community with security camera projects at city buildings and providing the police department with body cameras, Axon body cameras. Our senior services are working on finding ways to provide limited services and eventually reopen the center, our senior facility, which we want to do that obviously on a safe reopening plan. They've found a safe way to provide ARP tax services for seniors this year. So that's been an ongoing process. We're working on opportunities for a new fire station, and that more to come on that. Probably be working on a levy. It looks like next year for new fire station, fire vehicles, and probably an overall safety levy. So we'll go on to our next slide. I think is fire or I guess my advocating for the community. Obviously, with the governor's reopening plans, we've had lots of communication opportunities. As I think you well know, we were included, Island County was included in a phase for a while. We advocated for our governor to continue looking at Island County alone and our numbers, which we think would stand better for us. Our governor has taken us back to a county by county process. So we hope that we can stay in phase 3 and continue to reopen. And I guess along that same line, we are working with our Chamber of Commerce to bring back the 4th of July fireworks and potential 4th of July parade. Obviously, we have to remain in phase 3 to do this, but we plan to do that this year on July 4th. And you'll hear more about that to come, believe me. And then finally, staying connected, thanks to Sabrina, who works hard every day. There's lots of ways to stay connected to the city of Oak Harbor, whether it be Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, LinkedIn. We've just got, I communicate with the mayor's snapshot now on a monthly basis, or pretty close to that. Just trying to get more information. Our city administrator does a report, which is a full-blown report to include all projects and the processes that our projects are in. And we're trying harder than ever to communicate and get the word out. So thanks for your support. Thanks to the league again for the opportunity. Come to Oak Harbor and spend some money here. We enjoy that each time you do that. So you're welcome always. Love to see you, and thanks for this opportunity.
Thank you, Mayor Severns. That was great. I love Oak Harbor. I live in Oak Harbor and I love Oak Harbor. And so I know that we have loyalties all around the island present here tonight. But thank you very much.
Thank
Mayor
you.
Tim Callison from Langley. Unmute yourself, please.
There's one in every meeting that fails to unmute, and it's going to be me tonight. So
Thank you.
I am the public information officer for the city of Langley, as well as being the mayor. So I don't have the luxury that Bob has. So, and we've all been spending this whole year and a half on Zoom and looking at PowerPoint presentations. So I decided I'd give you a break tonight and just talk, if that's okay with you. I'm known for my PowerPoint presentations, but I let it forego this evening. Main topic of last year: COVID, and then a little more COVID if you haven't heard enough. But you know, there was some real silver linings in this whole pandemic, and that in terms of Langley and South Whidbey, it was amazing how our community pulled together to follow the precautions that were being generated so that they could provide for the health of themselves and their neighbors, and all the acts of generosity that also occurred, the amazing contributions to the food banks. And I heard at one point there was enough food in the food banks to feed everybody in South Whidbey for 2.5 years. And the small things that people did during the pandemic, shopping for their neighbors that were shut in because their health was compromised and they felt like they couldn't go to the grocery store. So people would be helping by buying groceries for their neighbors and those kinds of things. That was really the silver lining of the COVID, was testing us and finding out how much we really do look out for each other. And I think that's generally true of Island County in general. The thing that I saw that was also amazing, and I think when the history of responses for COVID is written, I'm hoping that it'll be written someday, I believe that Island County can stand as a model of cooperation and taking positive actions to combat this pandemic. It happened with the commissioners, it happened with the mayors, it happened with our Chamber of Commerce's, and it happened with our Main Street associations. They all pulled together to help administer the relief funds that came through. The county was very generous in redirecting relief funds to the municipalities from their large amount of money that they were granted from the state and the federal government, and that was absolutely terrific. And our public health officials that worked tirelessly to give us both the information and the guidance that was necessary to get us through the pandemic and then through the vaccination phase, and how well they've organized the vaccination phase. And I hope everybody's been vaccinated. If you haven't, you can come to Langley on Friday and get it for free. But the county, I thought all of us together, pulling together, and I'm not talking about just the county administration, but all the people in this county really, really worked hard to get together and find our way forward. We were able to continue with our major infrastructure project. We have a $7 million project here in Langley to extend our water system, our sewer system, and our storm coverage to a lot of currently unserved part of our population. And we were able to proceed with that, where the surveyors were able to work, the people that were doing our design were able to work within the community, and the community understood. Everyone took their precautions while out in the field, but we were able to move it forward. So we're still on schedule with that. One thing that I found particularly amazing is the bravery of a couple of new businesses. We had 2 new restaurants and a coffee shop that opened in our town during the middle of the pandemic. I mean, that's a brave entrepreneur with not knowing exactly what was going to happen in the future. They went ahead and created their new organization and opened it to the public and followed all the guidance and controls, and they're up and running and doing a good job. And so it was really, I thought, heartwarming to see that kind of commitment to their business and the commitment to the town. We have started to have events. People are starting to plan events, like Bob talked about their 4th of July planning. And the governor, of course, announced today that if things continue the way they have been, that everything is going to be open by June 30th or sooner if we reach the 70% vaccination level, which was fantastic. Today, the governor also accepted and adapted the CDC guidelines that came out today about not wearing masks if you're vaccinated, which will present a unique challenge to the city as helping to provide guidance to determine who's vaccinated and who's not. But it's a good step forward, and I think we're, in most cases, we'll have to take people at their word that they're vaccinated, or some people are carrying their vaccination cards if they feel that's appropriate. But we are starting. We're going to have our Friday market starting this Friday, and in combination, Island County Public Health is going to conduct a free vaccination clinic for those people who have not had the opportunity to get to a clinic location or been able to sign up for the clinics. They'll be able to get it here in town. I stole the idea, of course, from Molly Hughes. We mayors all shamelessly share and steal from each other, and she had it at her food bank, and I said, "Whoa, why not here?" So we contacted Public Health, and they said, "Yeah, we'll be glad to come down and do it for you." Bob talked about the relief aid that we were able to give to our small businesses. We were not so generously endowed with money because we're small, and they determine the amount of money you get by the size of your population, and we only have 1,070 people. But we were able to give $2,000 to 32 businesses in our town from the COVID relief program and help them adapt to the measures that they needed to put in place in order to stay open. It paid for their plexiglass shields or their personal protective equipment, those kinds of things, so they can continue to operate. And I have to say that I don't think any of our businesses actually suffered to the point of going out of business unless they were already in that kind of position prior to COVID, and that some of them did get tipped over because of that. In terms of other things that we're doing, the city is still firmly committed to trying to find a solution to the affordable housing issue that we have on the island. We've passed 2 new ordinances in our town that are encouraging for affordable housing. We passed a multifamily infill ordinance so that we can create multifamilies within residential districts and use up some of our vacant lots and other areas in town and put a little more density into the town. And then we had planned unit development ordinance that we put in place because we have a large piece of property just on the outskirts of town, but within the city limits, that's now being considered for a very large development activity. And we want to make sure that within that development activity, there's a consideration for affordable housing and not just, large single family homes. We want to encourage multifamily and multi-use applications within that community that they're now planning. And the last note is, and I'm sure it's true everywhere, our real estate market down here is absolutely crazy. There's no inventory and prices are rising substantially. And so that's another issue pushing the affordability is our own natural market forces. Suddenly everybody wants to live in Island County, and I don't blame them, but it's sure putting a lot of pressure on for the real estate market. And that's all I got. And if you have any questions, I'll be glad to answer them. Thank you so much for inviting me. I really look forward to this event every year. So sorry, I'm not getting dinner this time. That was free dinner was nice,
Well, we're hoping hope springs eternal for next year.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Thank you, Mayor Callison. Great to hear from you. And we're heading to Langley tomorrow, my sister and our husbands.
Good.
To go to the Saratoga Erratic. So I'm
Nice.
pretty excited about that.
Nice.
Well, thank you so much. We'll see if questions come up out of the chat later. And I'd like to introduce Mayor Molly Hughes. Welcome, Mayor Molly.
Hello.
Thank you. There you go.
Thank you for the invitation. Glad to be here too. You're one of my favorite groups to speak with every year. I want to echo what Bob said that, I wish I had a Sabrina. We all do, but we don't. So we'll just carry on the best we can. I actually have gotten to work with Sabrina on several committees and task forces, and she's very impressive and been very helpful to all of us. So I'm kind of going to start out the same way Tim did. I just want to say, COVID. And when I think about last year, when I think about 2020, I think about contradictions and community. The contradiction of, will this year ever end? Is it ever going to be over? And then at the same time, being just flabbergasted every time I turned, to another month on my calendar. It was like constantly, either I was in slow motion or feeling like, oh my God, the year's slipping away and we've still got so much work to do. And that was another interesting contradiction. You would think with everything in town being canceled, everything, we all were, that, oh, wow, we can get a lot done this year. We can catch up, but it just did not happen because it was practically a full-time job to keep up with the ever-changing, every 24-hour basis COVID information that you had to follow and get out to your community. So it was just a strange year, but like exactly like Tim said, I was going to say the same thing about community. I mean, we all know that Island County is awesome and we all think our towns and our cities are the best, but I mean, instead of just buckling under, people just went above and beyond to support our small businesses, to show appreciation to our first responders and our essential workers, to help their neighbors out through power outages and storms and everything else that could get thrown at us last year. And it was just truly amazing to watch. And I also said many, many times when you watch the state news and the national news, how proud I was of our community, that everybody just, sucked it up and just wore their mask and followed the rules and didn't complain and just, got through it together. And it's why Island County has had such great numbers through this whole thing. So just very super proud of our community. I, like Tim, could not have gotten through this without our Chamber of Commerce and our Waterfront Association. They were a lifesaver to all of our businesses in the community, and they also helped the town distribute 2 rounds of small business grants to our community. I think we gave out about $125,000 in COVID money. So, some of that was the town's money and some of it was the money that the county shared with us. The town also, we basically spent all of our money on grants to small businesses and then just massive purchasing of personal protection equipment for the businesses that couldn't get it. And it was hard for the town to get it too, but we had employees to just be on it all the time and look for places to order it. We got some stuff from all over the world, let me tell you. But we bought it in quantities so that we could get it out to the small businesses that didn't have, if you're trying to keep your business afloat, you don't have time to spend 6 hours on the internet trying to find stupid masks. So pretty much that's how we spend our money. It's been, for me personally, one of the silver linings, it has been, again, Tim, I know I sound like I'm copying you, but I'm really not, was getting to work with people that I had not had a chance to work with. And I wouldn't have had it not been for COVID. I mean, some really sharing of ideas, sharing of information, sharing of, here's the problem, how can we solve it? Did that with our county employees, county commissioners, fellow mayors, directors of the port districts, chambers. I mean, everybody just got together and was very generous with their experience and their ideas. And we, had some better programs as a result of it. We lost 2 businesses but these were, like Tim said, they were like two businesses that the ladies had been talking about retiring. And then when COVID hit, they thought, okay, this is it, I'm out of here. Both of those spaces were immediately rented. We lost 1 restaurant that I would say was due to lack of customers for COVID, but it has been rented and will open as a restaurant again at the end of this month. We did lose 1 little tiny business who just started right before COVID. So he couldn't make it, but I just found out this month that he has re-rented the same space and is going to open with a new retail idea. So just never, the spirit of we're just going to keep trying until we get this done. Really sad, really, really sad to lose Currents Bistro to the fire a few weeks ago. That was just like, oh my God. talk about kicking somebody when they're down. I mean, they had just opened back up a couple months ago for lunches and dinner for about 4 days a week. And we're just getting their act back together when that happened. But I'm happy to say that the owners of the building and the owners of the business are absolutely planning to get that building rebuilt as soon as possible and get that business up and running again. So we're all ready to support them when that happens. So I panicked in the first quarter of last year, I'll admit it, since nobody knew what was going on. And everybody was talking about, oh my God, we're going to lose all of our revenue. Like in the beginning of second quarter of last year, I just put a complete hold on any capital project that the town had planned for last year. And we had a lot of them planned, except for any projects that involved grant money, because you don't want to lose that grant money. So we carried on with some of them, put a lot of them on hold. And then I'm very happy and surprised and tickled pink to say that Coupeville's revenue did pretty darn good. People were able to pay their property taxes. People are paying their utility bills, their utility taxes. Our sales tax revenues, which is our biggest tax, came in really, I mean, I think we were down 4% of what we had done the year before. By the time the year got over, we were down 14%, and then we're down 9%, and then we ended up being only down about 4%. So we're thrilled with that. And, you know, we got it in a different way. We got it through taxes on online sales. You know, everybody's shopping at Amazon and Costco and Walmart, and anything that gets delivered to your door, Coupeville got that sales tax. And, you know, if you went to Costco off island, that Linwood gets your sales tax. So it made a difference to us. And then the second thing that saved us is construction is absolutely crazy. COVID did not slow construction down one bit. I mean, now it is kind of slowing it down because people are having a problem getting materials and labor and transportation, shipping of their supplies. But construction is just still going full bore. And I'm happy to say that the business owners on Front Street have continued to do their preservation work on their buildings with their grant money, and Front Street is looking really good. Had a lot of facelifts there. So about fourth quarter, I felt comfortable to kind of put some projects back on the table. So we kind of started up again. So we got a late start last year, but we got a lot of stuff done. My staff is like crazy good at getting grants for stuff, which is wonderful because we can't pay for all the stuff that we need to get done in the town. So they've got some LED lighting done at the sewer and water plants with a PSE grant. We did a lot of paving with transportation improvement grants last year. We completely redid South Main Street, you know, half of our biggest street. We used TIB money to finish sidewalk on Alexander, to put in pedestrian crossing lights at that crazy intersection of Alexander and Copeland. Do I stop? Do I go? Do I walk? Is it my turn? Just the nuttiest intersection I've ever seen. We did a little tiny front stormwater project on Front Street that we had planned for a long time. And really the purpose of that is to try and save the Front Street bluff, the unstable bluff there. So we're doing as much as we can. You know, we can't hold off Mother Nature forever, but we're trying to keep her at bay as long as we can. And then we did weird little stuff that we kind of took advantage of the situation. So, you know, like the rec hall is rented 24/7. Well, I've had it closed for a year. So we refinished the floors, we painted the interior, you know, so we did like jobs got some stuff done based on the situation. So that wasn't all bad. Continuing forward, we're excited for getting a lot done. We're excited to do a whole bunch more street paving with Transportation Improvement Board's money this year. Mainly smaller residential streets. We'll be replacing some water and sewer lines before we do that. Got to catch up on maintenance of our utility lines. We're still working on that huge water line replacement, over a mile of water replacement with our FEMA grant. Hope to start construction on that this fall or maybe next spring. Completely dependent on how long it takes us to get our permits to do that. We're ready to go. Just another report that our new water plant is humming right along. We continue to get absolutely test results back that show no detection of PFAS in our drinking water. So we're pleased with that. The not great news for my community is that we are working on a rate study right now, and it is very apparent that we will be raising utility rates this year. So working on trying to find the sweet spot of that, of doing as small as increase as we can with still having enough money to take care of our infrastructure and take care of our plants. And I think the last thing I'm going to close with is my little happy place. You know, I think last year has also shown us that it's the little things that count, right? So we're all excited about the events coming back, and, you know, kind of in, I don't know, I'm kind of in shock with the governor's information this today. Gotta kind of digest that and figure out how we're going to make that work. But in, you know, the town of Coupeville had this little community garden, and it was showing less and less and less interest every year. So in 2019, I just shut it down. I shut it down completely. And you know, what happens when you shut something down completely, then everybody thinks they need to have a community garden. So I told one really enthusiastic person, you get me 20 gardeners and I will open up the community garden again. She got 40 spaces rented, and we opened up the garden in 2020. And oh my God, it was so fun to watch because of COVID. We got that much response because of COVID. We had these poor parents who were trying to homeschool their kids, and they're like tearing their hair out and like, what am I going to do? We had families gardening, and we're using the garden in their science and their math classes with their kids. I met David out there. He was about 8, and he showed me his pumpkin that he had grown. He was like, couldn't be more excited. You know, we had first time gardeners out there that just needed to get out of their house and needed to have something healthy to do. And then to watch the experienced gardeners sharing their knowledge and their supplies. And it was just a great thing. We even had a wedding that one of the couples that gardens out there got married in the garden last year. And I'm pleased to say that this year, there was so much community interest and people walking by and seeing how cool the garden was. This year we have 51 spots rented. And it's just a pleasure to see people working together, getting some fresh air, doing something healthy, and helping each other. That's all I have.
Wow, thank you, Mayor Molly. How exciting to hear this, so much enthusiasm from all 3 of our mayors about what great communities we live in. I mean, I know my neighborhood, it's so exciting to be part of this and to hear from all around the island that these things are going on. It's just wonderful. Thank you, mayors. Do we have Becky? Is there something going on in the chat? Oh, mute yourself.
Right.
There we go.
Well, we did just get a question about the very noisy container ships in Holmes Harbor. Is it necessary that they use the harbor? And that underneath those ships thrives one of the most wondrous natural habitats on Earth. So having world-traveled ships, perhaps bringing pollution, they burn, well, it says coke, but maybe it means something else. And perhaps invasive species seem just wrong, not to mention the noise we must all endure. The ship that just moved harassed us for days. It seems wrong. And I actually was on the ferry yesterday and saw a huge container ship. I wondered about it. So I'm not sure who that question would go to. Sounds kind of Freeland-like.
Yeah, I would say it's probably county's maritime authority in that section of the Saratoga.
Or actually probably the state, Tim.
State, yeah, county or state. County should make a complaint about it if it's a big problem. The reason they're there is that harbors are too full. You know, there's been a lot of lumpy action in the supply chain. We shut down for a while because we were not taking products from China, and then we had that guy that got his ship sideways in the Suez Canal that backed everything up. So now the harbors are not able to handle the traffic in the containers, and so they arrive here, and so they're just parking them all over the place until they have a spot for them in the harbor to unload.
Yeah, that was gigantic. I had to get my binoculars out to see what it was, but it was a container ship that you don't often see when you ride the ferry. Okay, then there's a question a question about Coupeville's efforts to control the deer. And they're happy about it, Molly. They're happy about it. But will Langley ever do anything to reduce the number of rabbits?
Absolutely not. We had this community discussion some 5 years ago, and the determination was that we were going to learn to coexist with the rabbits. Now, I'm happy to report that the rabbits seem to come into equilibrium. There's a number of natural predators that have taken them out. There's another, they do occasionally, unfortunately, get hit by cars and things, but they've kind of come into a natural level of equilibrium, and they're not a pest anymore. If you come down to Langley, there's 2 rabbits that live outside City Hall. They're going to jump on your leg like a dog that begging for carrots. So, they're all over the place. And actually, we've gotten to be known for our rabbits. So why would we get rid of them? People actually do come here just to see the rabbits and take pictures of them. And I say, take them home, take 2 home if you like. If you can catch them, take them home. But yeah, we've learned to coexist with them. They're not so much a pest anymore. We had a real explosion of them when they first got here, but they're yeah, I know they're not loved if you're a gardener. That's true. That's why I have a picket fence around the front of my house. Keep the rabbits out. So yes, you adapt to it.
Okay, and then back to the container ship. John said it's a very dirty fuel. The coal. I think it's coal.
Coke.
Coke. Okay. Okay. Yeah, the gardener thing. Okay, and then we had a bravo for all of our mayors on modeling leadership in these very tough times. And so thank you for speaking to our group. And yeah, I would agree with that you just never knew what to expect from day to day, or having to make decisions that you never saw coming or, at any point. So that was good. Okay, and I think that might be all of the questions, although I actually had one about Coupeville, and I know there was a electric car charging station planned.
Mm-hmm.
Have we made any progress on that, or?
Becky, no, and that's my fault. And
Oh.
we are going to get them done. We are going to get them done in the municipal parking lot. It's my goal to have them done this year. I kind of like that fell to the bottom during COVID. And then Island County started working on a county-wide electric charging plan. And I went, oh, good. And then I kind of like laid back and went, okay, good. I'm going to let them take the lead on it and just, like Tim said, steal their information. Well, they did all this work and then found out that I can't remember what company they were working with, but the company said, nah, we're not interested in Island County. So we're all kind of back to now we have to do it again. But I believe I do have a company, ChargePoint is who I had been looking at before. And I think I'll continue on with them. And Becky, it is my goal to get that done this year.
Okay, I know you have a spot for it, so.
Yes.
Yeah.
We do.
Okay, and then I had another question. Where is that sports complex, Mayor Severns? The Harbor Heights? Where is that located?
So it's off of the old Oak Harbor Road. It's north and west of downtown Oak Harbor. And as you're going north, it is there's 2 ways to get to it. One is through a city street called Elwha Street that goes to the south boundary of the 75 acres. The other is called Gun Club Road, which is off of Oak Harbor Road. Yeah. So it's you take Gun Club Road off of Oak Harbor Road.
Okay. Okay, well, I'm scrolling up and down, and I think we've gotten all of the chat questions.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, we are right on time. Thank you, mayors. It's just such a pleasure to have you here. And let's keep our fingers crossed that we'll be back at the country club next May, and we'll
Yeah.
all have dinner together. That would be
Great.
wonderful.
That'd be great.
Yeah.
Sabrina, thank you.
Thank-
Mayor Bob Severns, Mayor Tim Callison, Mayor Molly Hughes,
Thank you.
you're excused.
Thank you.
Thank you.